14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
Well, the eyebrows have been trimmed. I'm ready to go for episode 47 of Hometown Threads here on 14 WILI 95.3 FM and Willimantic Today Facebook. It's Keith C. Rice. We'll get to our guest in just a sec. He's no stranger to the WILI microphones. He's been on here with Dennis and Susan. Let's talk about it. Hometown Threads comes your way every Tuesday, 5:05 to 5:30, right here on WILI 1400 and 95.3 FM. And later in the week, you can watch it anytime on Willimantic Today Facebook. I share it off my Keith C. Rice Facebook page. So probably like Wednesday, and well, as I said, once I share it, you can watch it whatever you want on Willimantic Today Facebook. Big thanks to the crew over there as well. And thanks to our sponsor, Liberty Bank. Be community kind with 3 great local locations. West Main Street, Willimantic, Gateway Commons, managed by my wife, Marianne Gargoni. We have the branch across the street from the radio station at 679 Main Street, Willimantic, and then Route 195 in Mansfield. Liberty Bank, be community kind. J. Matt Rupar, if you wouldn't mind, and say hello to the fine folks.
Hello.
Here we go. Episode 47, Hometown Threads. We finally got him in here. The coach, Randall Prose. Should we call you the coach? Should we call you Coach Randall? Coach Prose? Mr. Prose? What would you rather? What would you like to be called?
I wear a lot of hats.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Anything. Mr. Prose, coach.
Okay. Randall.
Yeah.
Is Randall? Do you go by Randy too, or is Randy you rather? That's your name, Randall, or is it Randy?
Well, my name's Randall.
Okay.
But I grew up in Southern Ohio, Appalachia area, and I'm not sure whether you're aware, but if you grow up there, you have 2 names. So I was Randy Joe back there.
I still hear a little. Wait a minute.
The draw will come out.
I was about to say, because, I've moved around a lot, but
yeah.
I got to admit, I know it's a beautiful part of the country. I've never been to Ohio. I think I've driven through it.
Yeah.
I moved cross country at one point. But Southern Ohio, I was about to say, is not really. Is there some kind of Southern draw there or what?
There is. It's the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. It's Appalachia.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I do have a cousin that lives in Lexington, Kentucky, which I know is somewhat near Southern Ohio,
Yeah,
right?
a couple hours away.
Okay. Well, let's get right to it first. Coach Prose, Randall, Mr. Prose. I'm just kidding. Let's call you Coach because you get sports fan, right? So let me get this straight. You got to be Cincinnati Reds.
Huge Bengals and Reds fan.
Bengals and Reds fan. Yeah. I'm really high on Cincinnati too lately because I'm so sad about Joe Burrow. I'm a Pats fan, but forget the Pats right now. I've been a Bengals fan in Burrow, so I'm sorry Joe Burrow went down, and I've been pulling for the Bengals. In fact, they were my Super Bowl pick again. Hopefully I didn't jinx them. And then the Reds have been playing well, so yeah, your Cincinnati teams, it's got to make you feel good. And I know you're here in Eastern Connecticut, and how long have you been in Eastern Connecticut?
I've been. I moved to Connecticut about 20 years ago.
All right, tell us how that happened.
Well, I got divorced, and my ex brought my 3 children to Connecticut. So, I met her in college. She's originally from Enfield.
Okay.
And so, I had to follow my children.
Wow, good for you. So your ex moved to Connecticut.
Back home for her.
Oh, back home for her. Okay.
Yeah.
She's from Enfield, and then how did you stumble into Willimantic? Well, I don't mean stumble. How did you come across Willimantic?
I worked for special ed school for like 5 or 6 years. I was a vocational administrator. I hired job coaches, did work evals for special needs students 18 to 21 for a few years. And that was like 5 years out of public school. And I really missed coaching. And I ended up getting back into coaching at Ram High School.
Over in Hebron?
Yeah, I started help with Tommy Hammond, a good friend of mine from Hebron. He was the head coach there, and he brought me on as his defensive coordinator. And so we helped kind of like establish football at Ram. It was new there. I think it was a couple years old.
Wow, now what year is this? This is cool.
This has been, let's see, I was 7 years head coach at Wyndham, and I was Brian's assistant for 6, so like 13, well, I've been at Wyndham for 18 years, so 18 years ago.
Okay.
And then I needed a teaching job, and I ended up at Wyndham High School. So I was teaching at Wyndham High. I got hired by Gene Blaine, the principal there, and I was coaching football over at Ram. And so I ended up falling in love with Willimantic. A year later, I bought a house and moved to town.
That's great. I love hearing stories like that where a lot of the people we have on here are from here. You know, we've had a few people like yourself that I can't think off the top of my head. It's just my 47th episode, but it's just great to hear how people have fallen in love with Willimantic in Eastern Connecticut. So you said, okay, well, first of all, what happened to the team this year, Coach? What happened? You've done a great job, by the way. I gotta say, you're 7 years after replacing, let's face it, big shoes and Coach Crudden. Let's go back to that before we get into this past season. When Coach Crudden was stepping down, take us through that whole situation. Like, did you know?
No, I was actually. Brian brought me on. I became really good friends with Brian.
You're on before Crudden, by the way. I've been trying to get him on. You're on before Crudden.
I consider him a great friend and a great mentor. And he brought me on staff after he came in. He actually scouted me coaching against Bacon Academy.
Scouted you?
He said, you did a pretty good job. I'll bring you on. And I started as a freshman coach. He brought me down, and I worked up my way up a couple of years. Then he made me the defensive coordinator. And I ran the defense for him for 5 or 6 years. And Brian loves defense, so that was nice. He kind of mentored me through that. And I had no idea he was going to step down. And he had some personal issues, and he had to step down literally 2 weeks before football started.
I think I vaguely, I don't think I'd moved back yet, but I think I vaguely remember this.
And he gave me a call, and he said, I'm stepping down. If you want to apply for the head coach, I'll give you a recommendation. And so I put my name and my hat in the ring, and I got hired. So just went, it wasn't like we changed anything because we were,
right.
So I stepped in, and I became the head coach and ran the defense. And Coach Haggerty was already on staff as my offensive coordinator. So
Mike Haggerty?
Mike Haggerty.
Oh, he's a great guy, yeah.
So we just took off running,
Well, take us through that first year.
First year
you have 2 weeks. Crudden, 2 weeks before the season start, Crudden steps down. I know you guys pretty much had things already in motion, but take us through that season.
We had quite a team that year, actually. We are argumentatively my best football team.
And this was what, 20, let's see, what is it, 2016, right?
15 or 16.
15 or 16,
yeah.
Okay.
We played Ansonia that year. We ended up, we didn't make the playoffs that year. Lost game 1 on a heartbreaker against Waterford. It was kind of a kid broke off down the sideline with no time left, and we lost a heartbreaker that game. And then we got hot. We started winning. We didn't lose again until Killingly. We lost on a Hail Mary pass. It was a game that got stopped on a Friday night. We had to come back and play on a Sunday.
Oh.
We were winning.
What happened? Weather related?
And they literally threw the ball. The buzzer went off. It was like a Dwight Clark thing in the back of the end zone. Lost the game. So we ended up 8-2. Missed the playoffs.
Missed the playoffs at 8-2?
Yes. And
how?
It's just one of those things where there was a couple tech schools that got in ahead of us and things that had 9-1 records, and we got left out. Ironically, that year, Valley Regional won the state playoffs, or won the state championship. They beat Ansonia in the finals.
Wow.
And we had scrimmaged Valley and took it to them that year. So we were always like, wow, it would have been nice to get in the show and see what we could have done.
Okay, so that's your first year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens after that? Again, I had moved back. Things were, I'm trying to remember. You obviously have the better memory. What was the big year so far for you? We're talking to Randall Prose, Coach Prose up at from Wyndham High School. You take over in that 15-16 year. What was the big year for Wyndham High football? We've had a lot of big years so far, but what's been the most special year so far for you?
Well, ironically, last season we were loaded for bear. We had 14 or 15 seniors. I don't feel like we had a hole anywhere. We went 9-1, lost a heartbreaker to Ledyard in overtime, which cost us our ECC crown. And then made the playoffs, had high hopes. Of course, as you know, last year we didn't have a home field. So we played all of our games on the road.
That's right.
We had
How was that?
It was tough. We had no locker room. We lived out of a Conex box out there. The kids dressed outside.
Wow.
And we just were road warriors, And kids, they rode with it way better than the coaches. We were whining, complaining about not having a locker room. The kids were fine. They just wanted to play football.
Now, you knew going into that year, or last year that it was, I want to ask a lot of questions about the new complex, but You guys knew going into that season this was going to be the deal?
No.
Well,
We
what?
did
Really?
not. And that's a very sore spot for me.
Are you allowed?
Here, watch my tongue on this one.
Are you at liberty to talk about it?
I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, that's great. Here we go.
So we were told that the field may not be ready for opening day. And E.O. Smith was our opening day. And we were so excited to get E.O. back on the schedule.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, heck, the kids are related to half the kids
Sure.
at E.O. And a lot of talk about they're better than us and we're better than them. And finally we're excited to, find out, put it on the field. So we're looking forward to opening day, E.O. Smith. I mean, there were folks coming back, alumni. They were all excited about it. And then a couple weeks out, we got the report that it wasn't going to be ready for game one.
Oh.
So we were crushed. So we had to go up to E.O., which was fine. We were up there and put it to them pretty good last year. The team was loaded. But then we were told, well, you'll have it ready for game 4, your new London game. That did.
Wait, who's telling you this now?
The building committee.
Building committee.
Well, I'm on the building committee, but the contractors.
He's on the building committee.
So the contractors, they were like, it'll be ready this day. And, we were all ready for that. And the athletic directors, moving games around, and we're ready for game 4. Game 4 doesn't happen. So
I think, okay, now I'm starting to remember this. But
it kept getting pushed off.
Why, though? What was going on? The field just wasn't ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hearing all kinds of excuses why, but it just wasn't getting done. It didn't get done. We were told we'd have it for a homecoming game, game 6. That didn't happen.
Did it look ready?
Yeah. And we're on the practice field looking at this completely finished field. We're ready to go up. The kids are like, Coach, let's just crash it. Let's just knock the fence down and go up on the field.
The parents must have been getting frustrated, too.
Everybody was frustrated. It was a really frustrating year for us. And, God love them. I don't know what happened, but it turns out it didn't get ready. And then the Thanksgiving Day game would be ready. Not ready for that.
Oh, even the Thanksgiving game.
And then we're thinking game 1 of the playoffs. We're 9-1. We're going to host. Wyndham's going to host a playoff game. And
that would have been
we were playing
that would have been a perfect opportunity.
So we had to go to EO.
Back to EO where it all started that season, last season?
That's where our first playoff game was.
And what happened again?
We got our butts kicked by Gilbert.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It was a tough game. It was like, you make excuses, but that week we lived through COVID and all those years, and the whole team gets sick.
Oh, that's right.
Kids are really, the flu took us down, and our quarterback had 102 temperatures.
Oh.
He played guts out, but he really wasn't himself.
He played.
J.C. Diaz, our all-conference, defensive tackle and linebacker and fullback, he couldn't play. He had to go home. He was so sick.
You know what? Now I'm remembering all this. It was on the news, I think, too.
Yeah, they took it to us. And hats off to Gilbert. They're a good team. I'm not saying we could have won it if we were healthy because they were a really good team. But that was a tough way to end the season.
Okay, the season ends on a sour note, but you guys still played through all that adversity. Did they ever tell you what the holdup was with the field? There were
lots of excuses. There were lights that hadn't been inspected. The bleachers weren't finished. There was always a different excuse every time.
I'm ashamed to admit this. Being from here and on these streets all the time, I got to take a drive. It's right. I haven't even checked it out yet.
It's beautiful.
I got to check it out.
It's beautiful.
I've seen pictures of it. So
it really is.
I got to get up there.
So we lost a lot of seniors. It was a good year, though. I love those kids. They were tough kids. We had 4 All-Staters on the team.
4? Oops.
Yeah.
Name them.
Travis Manguel. Was
former basketball player, right?
He's playing football in college.
He's playing football in college? Where?
At Post University.
Oh, right, Travis.
Yeah,
nice.
He got a scholarship there. He did a really good job. Isaiah Manguel, his cousin, was an All-State tackle. The other All-State was Victor Mejia.
Okay. Yeah.
He's playing football up at Westfield.
This is great.
Yeah, he's doing a great job up there. Went and watched him play this year. Always like to take a couple aspiring young men and go watch the kids play.
I'm sure that makes sense.
I missed Travis's game this year. I never got a chance to. I feel bad about that.
They must love knowing that you're there, too.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Usually we take them out afterwards.
Oh, that's great.
And then the 4th one was Malachi Fowler. Yeah, he was only a sophomore. Made All-State. When we're waiting to hear who got named All-State right now, I keep checking.
I know. It's like, it'd be great if we find it during Hometown Threads here.
Yeah.
You named some of these guys. I was when the basketball team won the state title a couple of years ago. That was a lot of fun too. We had the parade and I'm sure I actually hosted the the rally there on the Shabu stage, and it was a cold March day. But I actually went to the game too, then at Mohegan Sun, and what a great thing that was for the community. And you know, you're not just a football coach there; you're a teacher. And why don't you tell us all about that as well, and how you do both, and well, you're also involved on the town committee, right?
Yeah, I'm on town council.
Let's start with teaching. Tell us about. Oh, you got a text. Is that breaking news?
Let's see.
I would love to break this.
I know. It said I would get an email. No emails.
Okay. So yeah, tell us about the teaching along with the football coaching and all that.
Well, I've been teaching. I had 32 years teaching now. Came to Wyndham. It's been 18 years ago. I teach a class called CWE, Cooperative Work Experience. So we talk about what students want to be when they grow up and help them kind of pick their career pathways. Wyndham High has got career pathways now, and students can choose like one of three pathways, either basically a math-based one, which is technology, computers, business, or like manufacturing, like hands-on stuff. And we have an Echo Lab where students learn basic skills. They go to like Electric Boat and Pratt Whitney and get jobs there. So that's one pathway. The other one is human services and public safety. So if you want to help people change the world, like bleeding heart like myself, you go into that pathway. And the other one's health sciences. We've discovered there's so many jobs in the healthcare field, ranging from right out of high school all the way up to your PhD. And we have a great partnership with Wyndham Hospital and Hartford Healthcare. So a lot of our students go over there, do internships, and get hired there. So I help kids figure out what they want to be, and then as their freshman and sophomore year, and then junior, senior year, I set up job shadows and paid internships, and I get out in the community and meet people, and they can earn school credit for that too. So I'm a history teacher by trade, and every once in a while I'm still teaching a history class, and
Really?
I enjoy that. But I love the career piece. I went back to school for that, and after my master's, I saw this, and I was like, one of my values is making a difference and helping kids. And I was like, I just want to have a greater impact on their lives. And I thought, what a better way than helping them find out what they want to do and be happy and fulfill for the rest of their lives. So I really enjoy that.
This is great. Randall Prose, Coach Prose, Mr. Prose, wherever we go. He wears many hats up at Wyndham High School, and he does around town as well. He's our guest here for episode 47 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI, 95.3 FM, and Willimantic Today Facebook, brought to you by Liberty Bank. Be community kind. Where you said you went back to school. Tell us about your education. Like, where'd you?
Well, I played Division III football back in Ohio. Yeah, at Ohio Wesleyan University.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Got my bachelor's there. I got a master's in administration, which I'll never use. I don't want to be a principal. But at Ohio University.
You don't want to be a principal?
No thanks. And
you never know.
In Athens, Ohio. So I got my master's there. Great program. It was actually a rural principal program. It was Appalachia, so focused on what's important to those people and why maybe they don't love education. So you find out what's important to them and see if you can match the educational experience to their core values and help them take school more seriously. Turns out in Appalachia they love God, they love nature, and they love the family. So if you can give them a career where they don't have to leave those beautiful hills, they can stay close to their family, they'll do it. But they're not interested to go to Columbus or Cincinnati and see the big lights. So,
really?
Yeah. Anything like that's helping people they love. They love the trades because they can work locally and they can stay at home. So that was a great thing. And then I actually went to Wright State University for another year. That's where I took my vocational stuff, the schoolwork stuff.
So all the education was in the Ohio area.
Yeah.
And, well, you talk pretty fondly of it, and I know we've had you here. I say we've had you for about 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I know you love it, but do you miss it? Would there ever, we don't want to lose you, would there ever be a time, and I'm putting you on the spot, where you'd say, this has been great, I've fallen in love with this community, but, do you have family back in Ohio, or?
I do. I have family. I have a big family. Mom and Dad have passed, so that's a big reason I used to go back a lot. But I have a sister back there. And lots of cousins, Mom was one of 8, Dad was one of 9, so big family.
Wow.
So I go back and visit, and I have fond memories of it. But this is home now.
This is home now?
Yeah, when I think of home, I think of Willimantic. And, my kids are here. My wife has 3 kids here, and, we're family here. We got grandchildren, and, you know how that goes. This is home now, so
Yeah.
it'll be a great place to visit.
I've kind of sensed that too, because this is the first time I've actually met Coach Pros here, and we're friends on Facebook, and I've seen him in the paper. I'm like, he'd be a great guest for Hometown Threads. So it was an honor to finally meet you, and I could tell just by how active you are in the community that you really have made this, and you genuinely call this home now. So tell us a little about, you told us about teaching and football. You're involved with the town as well. Like I know you've been on with Dennis and Susan, as we mentioned. Have you been on? You've probably been on Wayne's show, I'm assuming too, right? Have you been on Wayne's show?
I don't think I have.
Oh, I got a guest before Wayne. I got that. All right, so tell us how involved you are with the town and what you do.
I think it's been like 6 years ago. I'm a big union guy. I was the union president at Wyndham Wyndham Federation of Teachers for 10 years. And I served on the state executive board. My father was a union president as a steel worker back on the river, back there in Ohio. So I've been a big union person my whole life. And so as a union, you do a lot of lobbying and pressuring politicians and telling them what you think they should do. And I remember complaining about some issues here in town, and either Dennis or Susan said, well, if you want to do something about it, run for town council. So I did. And I've been serving ever since. I really enjoy it. It's.
What do you do? What I always wondered when you're on the town council. I know you go to the meetings. How do you contribute? I mean, I'm sure you just come up with ideas. A bunch of brainstorming going on, right?
Well, yeah, and we're the lawmaking. We do pass town ordinances, but basically we make sure that we stay in budget. We try to promote. Positive things in town. I really love what the Main Street is, developing here and happening, and the school. That was a big thing for me. I wanted to improve the schools, so the new high school is really exciting. I advocated really hard to get that on the ballot.
That's probably been a huge thing for you to be a part of.
Yeah.
So in our final few minutes here, I got one question, and then usually how we close things, I give my guests the opportunity if he wants to say, give a shout out or thank people who have made this journey possible for you. My first question before we get to that is, I know you call this home. Still, I'm not saying I'm not referring that you're going to move, but where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years here since you call this home? Where would you like to be? Still coaching, whatever. I mean,
I want to coach as long as I love it. I've been around. I'm 55 this week, so
right around the same age. Well, happy early birthday, Coach. Right.
Getting up there. I've been around long enough to see when people stick around too long, and the minute I stop loving the game and the kids, I'll step out. I don't want to be that guy that hangs on too long. But right now, I love it. I always get a little depressed when the season's over. But then I also take a nice deep breath because it takes a lot out of you.
You're a football guy at heart. Is that your favorite sport?
It is, but I love track. I've been coaching track.
Oh, that's right.
I've been the head coach at track at Wyndham maybe a year or two longer than that. I have a state championship at boys track and a couple runners up and I think 7 or 8 ECC titles. So I love the track and field. It's kind of married to football. You want to get your kids out there in the spring, lifting weights, working hard, working on speed. So what you're saying is 5 to 10 years, if you step away from coaching, you'll still be involved within the school system and in the town and all that? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm in no hurry to retire.
Well, we don't want to lose you. You've definitely brought so much to this community, and not just talking about coaching, too, molding young minds, and it's finally great to have you here in Hometown Threads. Before we go, any people you'd like to thank that have made this journey possible, or any closing thoughts?
I'd like to thank... obviously, my wife Beth is great. She's very supportive, especially after football season. I always go do a lot of thank yous because I'm not home a lot, and I'm not really there. Actually, I'm always thinking about football. My kids used to call themselves football orphans and football widow, but it's over. But if I were going to thank anyone, I'd thank the people of Willimantic and Wyndham. They welcomed me here 20 years ago. I fell in love with the town. I love living here. You
live right here in town?
I live right here, right on Washburn, right across from the clock tower.
Sure.
I love seeing the families. I love seeing the kids. I love seeing the students that I had 15, 20 years ago and see how they're doing. And I just think this is an amazing place to live.
Well, thank you so much. I can't believe I got him in here before Coach Crudden. One more football thing, man. I know we got to wrap this up. I know you're a football guy. quick opinion on that controversial Chiefs Bills call last night.
Stop complaining. I've lost many games over bad calls. It's part of football.
I like Mahomes, but pipe down. I mean, come on, offensive with the offense.
I gotta say one more thing. I'm so proud of this year's team. We lost 16 seniors. We came back with 1 returning starter on each side of the ball, 2 or 3 on defense, and the kids went 7-3. They won tough fought games. I don't think we beat anybody by more than 10 points. We go 7-3, win the conference and we're only losing like 1 or 2 seniors. So, to me, this was the proudest I've ever been of kids.
That is fantastic.
They went out there and they fought.
In your 7 years, I think you've been above 500 almost every season. You've done a fantastic job taking over the Wyndham High football program, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So keep up the great work.
Thanks, man.
Coach Pros.
Appreciate it.
And with track too. And teaching and all the other stuff he does. Coach Randall Pros with us here, episode 47 of Hometown Threads. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for Liberty Bank. Be community kind. J. Matt Rupar, thank you. And we'll catch you next week. And in the words of the great Roddy McCumber,
bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice. Or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.